The ySacer in Brazil has been showcasing immense talent, and today we are highlighting one specific lane. Their team has been dominating through the entire tournament and they have been the solid backbone of every match. Who else other than B4 Esports Dragon Lane could I be talking about? Say hello to ySacer and carliTo, as they're going to teach us the following: how to abuse Xayah and Rakan's power in lane, snowballing from that, finding the perfect angle for an engage, and how to turn Xayah into an offensive monster of a champion. At the beginning of this game, ySacer was given the opportunity to get the very last pick in the draft. Looking at the enemy team composition, you can notice a very apparent theme. They want to go in. Using that information and the fact that carliTo already locked in Rakan to his advantage, ySacer knows exactly what to pick. Xayah. This champion loves to fight enemies that run into her, and with carliTo's Rakan next to ySacer's Xayah, it's not even a problem if the Xayah has to run at the enemy. Thanks to Rakan's immense power in the form of engaging with his ultimate and second ability, it's an easy feat for Xayah to follow up. Now let's briefly talk about the unique interactions between those two champions and how they help B4 Esports on their way to victory. Rakan's third ability grants Xayah an increased shield compared to other targets, and whenever Xayah uses her second ability while being close to the Rakan, its effect is also transferred to the Rakan player. Taking that into consideration makes it really dangerous to fight them on level 1. Thinking about this, what about trapping or fighting the enemy in the early game? Exactly that Xayah is taking advantage of. The Lucian makes a crucial spacing mistake and disrespects the relative engage range of B4 Esports Dragon Lane. As carliTo's grand entrance hits ySacer's Lucian, ySacer immediately activates his second ability, Deadly Plumage. This forces Lucian to skill and use his third ability to escape certain doom. With that done, ySacer lost any possible agency in his own lane. Never disrespect Xayah and Rakan's early game. You'll regret it. Why though? Xayah's second ability functions as an attack speed steroid that increases her and Rakan's attack speed while adding bonus damage to every single hit. Therefore, looking for swift and aggressive early game plays is something this duo loves to do. Give it a shot and walk into the brush closest to the enemy tower and wait there to pounce the enemy. That is the most powerful Xayah and Rakan level 1 play. Exactly that carliTo and ySacer aim to do. But sadly Xayah had a little accident at the shop and lost valuable time and got there a little bit too late, but the play still worked out as originally intended to. Using such aggressive plays enables you to establish a massive HP differential between you and the enemy laners. In this case, ySacer's fight capabilities have been significantly reduced and therefore he has to concede space. Knowing about this circumstance, ySacer moves up in unison with carliTo to zone the enemy from their gold and experience income. To make sure that this play is absolutely safe, note that Xayah briefly walks into a river to place down vision in order to secure their tyranny in lane. This tyranny finds its apex as ySacer and carliTo made the conscious decision to wait with pushing the wave until the allies were close enough to initiate a dive. The cannon now tanks the tower and the dive begins. In this scenario, pay close attention to Xayah's movement. She walks closer to the enemy champion as she waits for Rakan to initiate the play. She doesn't want to tank the tower, so she has to be patient. With carliTo's Rakan being in the game and able to use his mobility well, he tanks as long as possible while Xayah is allowed to freely damage both Lucian and Braum. Another important note to add here is the fact how they juggle the tower aggro. The first person to attack an enemy champion on the tower will get attacked by the tower. After that person dies or leaves, this aggro is transferred to the closest champion who has just attacked. Thoughtful, clean, and perfectly executed. Now all that's left is getting back to the base and spending your gold. Here's some little extra for the Xayah players who love to play with the Rakan. Xayah can join Rakan's ongoing recall by just walking close enough and then channeling recall herself. Specifically, that interaction is continuously used by carliTo and ySacer to squeeze out every little possible advantage. Don't undervalue this advice. As an AD carry, you're the most gold dependent role in the game. You're craving gold more than anyone else, so you have to make sure you waste as little time as possible. That way, you'll scale up the best and the fastest way into the later stages of the game, and your damage will be absolutely insane. As the Herald charges into the tower, Gon tries to use Yi's first ability Alpha Strike on it to deal additional damage. However, getting too close to Xayah comes with a certain level of risk. Xayah has multiple layers of defense. Systemically, she has Flash and Exhaust, which are great in any kind of scenario, but especially into assassins or anything that wants to jump you. In the following case, note how Xayah responds immediately with a neat little combo. ySacer casts his first ability, throws out an auto attack and then swiftly recalls his feathers to root the Yi. The damage is done and carliTo grasps this opportunity to find an immaculate engage with his ultimate ability the quickness and his second ability grand entrance. Playing off of that initiation, Xayah makes her way forward. Now take a good look at the enemy's champions. Unless she is locked down immediately and bursted within that frame of crowd control, it is impossible for FHG to deal with ySacer. In an act of frustration to save the game, the crocodile tries to get on top of Xayah. Brilliant clarity of mind, however, shatters Full House Gaming's hope entirely as ySacer reads the move, responds to the move and turns the table into his favor. This highlights the perfect use of Xayah's ultimate ability. Whenever you expecting the enemy to jump and crowd control you, you should use Feather Storm to deny that. That way you create space for yourself, your team and threaten the enemy team at the same time. If they recklessly chase after you, they'll be torn apart by the onslaught of feathers. And if it ever got risky, there are still the previously mentioned multiple layers of defense in the form of flash and exhaust. With the fight over, it's time to reap the well-deserved rewards. The inhibitor tower is taken down and the never-ending pressure on that Baron lane is going to stream into the enemy's base. Here are two essential Xayah combos you can use in your games. The first is rather straightforward. You cast your first ability, attack once and recall your feathers. This is slightly slower than the following, but a great tool to poke in lane. For the second one, you have to cast your second ability, throw out an auto attack, your first ability, and instantly, as the feathers are still flying towards the enemy, you want to start recalling them with your third ability, Blade Caller. Especially thanks to the delay in the feathers movement, you'll surprise a lot of enemies. With their base open and Baron being available, FHG's hopes are on razor's edge. Can they make it, or will they fall to the hyperscale duo lane of carliTo and ySacer? The fight unfolds and carliTo showcases why Rakan is such a dangerous support. Casting the quickness to gain more movement speed and then using the grand entrance into the enemy team make up for the perfect engage. In order to save his team, Thigh throws his glacial fissure towards the rest of B4 Esports. ySacer is zoned for a brief moment by this, but covers up Xayah's signature weakness in terms of mobility with the Protobelt enchantment to close the gap. Thanks to that enchant, you can be more aggressive and you gain the ability to change the angle for your Blade Caller in high pressure situations. As Morgana intervenes to stop carliTo's and ySacer's deadly onslaught, they prove great situational awareness and take a step back. A brief moment later, every threat for the Xayah is gone and she can change gears. Xayah isn't only a purely defensive champion. No, that's just a typical way of playing her. What you see now is ySacer's way of piloting Xayah. While the enemy is trying to retreat, ySacer casts Feather Storm and flashes towards the enemy team. Laying out a carpet of feathers forces FHG to run into different directions or else they'll be torn apart like Lushkinya's Morgana. Always keep track of your feathers, memorize their position and force the enemy to move away from them. That way you can easily isolate targets and remove them from the game. If however they don't respect your feathers, you'll immediately destroy entire teams by tapping just one ability. Baron in the back, Baron lane inhibitor taken and nothing else on the map, it's time for ySacer to end the game. Making up for Xayah's key weakness in the form of mobility, Rakan closes the gap for Xayah while she is utilizing the Protobelt enchant at the same time. Charmed and nicely grouped up together, ySacer is able to unleash his wrath and throws feather after feather to ruin FHG's dreams. All that's left for us now is to take a closer look at ySacer and carliTo's performance in numbers. Showcasing how hard it is to touch Xayah, he received less than 380 damage per minute thanks to the help of carliTo. On top of that, Xayah was able to dish out more than 1100 damage per minute while holding 100% KP to his name. ySacer's incredible performance wouldn't be possible without the assistance of carliTo's Rakan, adding more than 650 damage per minute to Xayah's dominating performance while enabling her through soaking close to 750 damage per minute, made sure that B4 Esports Dragon Lane claimed their rightful throne. You also rarely get to see a Dragon Lane that holds 100% KP throughout the game. Not just any Dragon Lane can do that, but B4 Esports surely can. And with them ascending as we speak, what comes next? Find out and tune in into the next games in the Wild Tour Brazil. Where do you find the schedule? Check out the following links. Thanks for watching and see you soon for more WRE content.